Jinwoo's finally come face to face with the Demon King Baran. I mean, yeah, this looks like a Demon King riding a dragon and shit. The aura is so intense that even Isul can sense it. Jinwoo's just trying to assess the situation because an enemy that's gonna be flying around is annoying as shit. Since this dragon isn't a demon like the rest of the monsters, it might be possible for him to turn it into one of his shadows. Baran over here just raises his sword and like a whole row of portals start opening. Demon soldiers have been summoned. You really gotta turn your phone sideways to see all this shit, like bruh. He already knows that just one of these demons is at least an A rank. He can see that there's over 1,000 of them, so she's like, what do we do? They all start menacing and staring him down. He's like, Jinwoo? Now they're all running full speed at him. He says not yet as they get closer and closer. It shows he was waiting for them to step into his shadow domain. And that's when he yells, come out. And all the demons that got too close, or did them all like Vlad the Impaler. God damn. And rightfully so, she's amazed. This is some of the coolest shit I've ever seen, like I can't lie. There's plenty more demons where that came from, and they just keep coming. Now it's time for the rest of the gang to get active. Tanks start moving, Iron start putting in work. Egress slashes this one as he jumps up into the air and lands on Tusk's shoulder. I forgot how big this nigga was. He activates his hymn of combustion and the whole line of enemy forces just starts getting boomed. Watching all this is starting to throw her into a conflict because remember, she's a demon and this is the Demon King, the ruler of this place, while Jinwoo is an invader that they're all supposed to be trying to take out. She's conflicted on who to side with, but Baran is all action as he charges up this lightning blast, and it looks like he just fires this at him. The whole sky starts raining down lightning at once, but it's also like some special magic that stuns whoever it touches. It's a good thing he already copped this cloak that was able to fend it off. As soon as it stops, Jinwoo goes on the offensive, targeting the dragon's wings so they can't fly anymore. Big dog Baran just blocks that shit and knocks him right back the direction he came. I cannot say Jinwoo ate that one, that shit looked like it hurt. Before he can even think, Baran's already charging up, letting that chopper sing. Bro spamming like grade 8 Vegeta. Now Jinwoo was able to dodge it. As he's running away, it's starting to catch up to him like it's fast as shit. And there's a limit to how much his robe can absorb, so he can't keep getting hit. Just then, a pillar of fire comes out of nowhere and surprises Jinwoo, but it actually clashes with the lightning blast. And we see that it's Tusk with that special orb going crazy. He was able to overwhelm the blast and hit the dragon, forcing them to fall from the sky and Baran to land on the ground. Jinwoo says, you finally come down. I was getting pretty tired of looking up at you. I don't know if demons can talk because Baran is just all action, firing another blast off rip that they have to block. Like he's not giving him a chance to replenish the mana that he's losing. And now that his soldiers are even higher ranks, it takes more energy from him when they get destroyed. We've got to finish this fight before he completely runs out. Iron tries to box with him, but he just punches his hammer into nothing and just stabs him right through the face. It's definitely just cost Jinwoo hella mana. And Eagers try to put his work in and come from the top rope slashing down. Bro just catches the sword and smiles before blasting away his whole top half. Jinwoo just used this as an opening to counter him. He senses the opening and blocks the vital strike, then grabs Jinwoo by the head, picks him up off the ground and is about to slash him with his sword. But before he can follow through, Iron and Egress block him. Jinwoo takes this chance to stab him in the chest with both his blades, and Egress stabs his arm so they can hold him in place. Like, fuck that, get off me. Sends out a shockwave, knocking everybody backwards. Jinwoo is able to catch himself as he pulls two blades out of the crack of his ass. So Jinwoo's like, alright, bet, run it. They just stare each other down for a sec before they both just turn into blurs and blitz each other. Clash is looking pretty even. He's trying to slash the shit out of him, but Jinwoo's blocking it, and he's trying to counter with his vital strikes, but he's parrying every one. So they just over here letting their hands go, trying to land something. Then he starts to charge this shit up in his face and tries to blast directly through him. He was able to block it with his daggers and deflect the beam. It sent both of them flying, so now he has no weapons. The Demon King smiles as he goes to attack. He's able to grab his arms and avoid the blades. Really, this is not the position you want to be in. He starts to open his mouth again, and he's like, bro, does this nigga not have a limit? And I guess not, because he's charging that shit up again. Before he can fire, he gets like cracked in the head by some type of knife. It's wifey number 2 over here. She had to make her presence known. And Baran looks over at her, so Jinwoo takes this opportunity to maximize the use of his Dominator's touch and just straight up rips off this nigga's arm. And he says, let's end this. He rocks dude with an uppercut from hell. Just look at the form, the rotation, the impact, the closed fist, perfect. I think, yeah, he knocked his head off. He just knocked it clean off. We've officially defeated the Demon King. After getting his soul, the second part to the quest is completed. Now she just runs over happy for him as he falls to the ground and says, Isul, go tell your daddy that your clan is now #1. And she like starts to cry. Bro, she's so cute. She has to correct Jinwoo again because he keeps saying their name wrong. And now Big Dog is level 97 and his soldiers just start looting what's left in the area. Now he's got the final piece to the set that all the bosses were dropping. This ring that boosts his intelligence and sensory abilities by 20. But all he really cares about is the purified blood of the Demon King, the final ingredient to the holy water of life. The system gives him the option to craft it, which he does. It's literally like a video game. He's just watching and hoping it loads all the way. It says the success of this depends on Jinwoo's intelligence. He's like, damn, if I'd have known that, that's where I would have put all my fucking stats. She's like, are you talking about crafting? Don't worry, I'm sure it'll be fine because it's you doing it. She's just over here glazing. Lo and behold, it works. He crafted the holy water of life. One of the ingredients is completely used up, but he still has the other two, so it's possible he could make more. We just have to find more of that spring water. This is the mysterious potion that can cure any illness. He's just thinking like, damn, can this really save my mom? He's about to go home right now and check. But then Iron pulls up with the corpse of the dragon. Jinwoo actually praises him because he can make use of the corpse. You know what time it is? Arise. And now this nigga Jinwoo got a dragon. Bro's just fucking cheating. She's like, yay, now you can fly me back home fast as shit. But he's just trying to get out of here fast. She's saying they're gonna have a whole banquet when they get back and that her father's gonna be happy to see him. He's just focused on the new rewards he got. He just got a new skill from this runestone he got rewarded with. And it's called Shadow Exchange, which just means he can switch places with any one of his shadow soldiers at any time. For now, after he uses it, he has a 3-hour cooldown, but that's gonna change the more he levels up. So now he can just teleport on top of all that other broken shit he could already do. And now that he can just return to his house instantly, he tells her that she's gonna have to go home alone. She's like, wait, what about the banquet? But he says it's on the 80th floor, and that's too far back just to go to get rewarded. He activates the Shadow Exchange and says, I'll see you again if I get the chance. He tells her to take care as she's like calling out to him, but like, bro, you ain't have to leave like that. He just completely disappears. But hey, at least he left her with one of his soldiers, so he could come back at any time. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, he's back in his home neighborhood. This shit is really cheating, but it's at level 1, so he can still take the ability even further. And there it's showing that he has to wait 3 hours to use it again. And he takes this beautiful opportunity to soar through the starry night sky on his fucking shadow dragon. As it cuts over to the Hunters Association, where Woo Jin and the chairman are talking about their plans for Jeju Island. The plan to get the soldier ants away from the queen so they can kill her. But remember, they've tried 3 times to pass that gate, and each time they fail, more time passes and the ants continue to evolve. Since it's their part of the job to go into the nest and take out the queen, wants to make sure the rest of the ants won't return inside the tunnels, continue to fight the forces on the outside. He says they'll be using a jamming signal to prevent the ants from communicating. He's like, bet, then all we have to worry about is the queen and her closest guards. Just then he feels some type of wave of energy coming from far away, and I think it's from Jinwoo flying through the sky on the dragon. It's over to Baek-yoon-hoo, who felt it as well. The guy he's hanging with says it's probably Chung Join-in or Shae-hin just fighting each other or something. It shows that he's meeting with an S-rank healer, Min Byung. They're just hanging out having a drink. This is the only S-rank hunter he's known that retired with all 4 limbs intact. Chose to quit despite how much money they can make. But really they're just chatting it up and chilling until he brings up the Jeju Island mission that he's about to go on. The S-rank dungeon that's been failed 3 times and many people have died trying. He's like, yeah, I gotta go or everything in Korea will be destroyed. So he's like, since when were you so patriotic? He's like, nah, I'm just adding a cool excuse since it's something I gotta do anyway. Now, he makes sure to say, fuck that shit, I'm not going. If you came here to convince me, I'm sorry. But he's like, nah, I just came here to see you, just in case. Because honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna see you again. Since he retired, he's just been working to get his degree and be a teacher. The whole time, guilds have been constantly reaching out for him, offering him positions. Even that of a guild master, like it's been countless deals. But he's shaking and says, despite me being an S-rank hunter, places where blood is spilled is just not for me. They just keep sipping and joking about him becoming a history teacher. As it cuts back to the hospital, Jinwoo's climbing through the window, pulling up on his mom. He's really anxious because if he screws up here, he might not be able to reverse it. She might not even be able to swallow it, but there's also no guarantee that she'll be okay. But I've seen many miracles created by this system, stories that other people will never believe, and it's all due to the system's power. So he goes to give it to her. He's just shaking, nervous about what's gonna happen. He really has to breathe and calm himself down before saying, please, just let this shit work. And he sees this scar on her neck and remembers when he was a kid, when all he was trying to do was wash her hair. He ended up burning her neck, but the whole time all she was worried about was him. After she drinks it, the color starts coming back to her face, but she doesn't wake up. Jinwoo's starting to get worried, like, what the fuck does this mean? I only ever had one reason why I wanted to become stronger, so please, wake up. Please just let me take over the burden you've been carrying all this time. Mom, please. Cuts over to Jinha, who's trying to do homework, but she can't concentrate. She just goes to get some groceries to get out the house. It cuts back to Jinwoo, who's just bowing his head as she sits up. Like, Jinwoo, is that you? Damn. Jinwoo mom she asked how long she was asleep because it just feel like a Tuesday. He says 4 years. So she's like, damn, is your sister okay? And he's shaking. Yeah, she's fine. She says, thank you. You kept your promise. She grabs his hand and says, because I got sick, my son, I know it must have been difficult for you. Jinwoo, who finally gets the comfort of his mother, boys start crying them tears of joy, and I can't blame it. He says, yeah, that shit was ass. So after being in a coma for 4 years, Jinwoo uses the holy water of life and is able to cure her from the disease of the eternal slumber. We get this wholesome ass moment of Jinwoo just being happy that his mom is alive. Now the word is getting through the hospital that she's woken up from a never before cured disease. Not only that, but after 4 years, her body is perfectly fine, like she just took a nap or some shit. Now, the doctors don't want to release her before they contact the higher ups, but after hearing that Tenwoo, the 10th S-ranked hunter in Korea, is the one who's pulling up to get her, he's like, yeah, just fuck that, they can go, just let them do that. But before they actually leave, he brings in his little sister, and she says, you've grown a lot since I last saw you, my daughter. And Jinna's just crying, happy to see her mom. Falls into her arms, give her a hug, just good vibes everywhere. And Jinwoo's watching it all, feeling like his efforts haven't been wasted, like he's finally been rewarded for all the work he's doing. But at the same time, as a hunter, he feels like he's seen way too much, and there's so much left for him to do, he can't even enjoy the moment. He still feels isolated. So then he goes outside to check his phone, just see who's been hitting him up. And he's got a bunch of missed calls, but figures if it's important, they'll just call him back. It turns out he's on the news because somebody caught him flying late at night on top of his dragon. Like, I love how they incorporate the media into this story. But in that instant, his phone rings and he gets another call, and it's the chairman, Mr. Go-Gun Hee. So he's like, what the fuck you calling me for? And he says Jinwoo should probably already know about it, but he doesn't because he's just been in the dungeon. He has no clue as to what's been going on in the news. But the chairman says this shit is really important, so they make arrangements to talk immediately. And Jinwoo pulls up to his office and he just gets right to the point, telling him about the mission to raid Jeju Island, the S-rank dungeon, and telling Jinwoo that they need his help. Please fight with us. Now, normally Jinwoo would jump at this opportunity to fight more monsters and level up. He's having second thoughts because of all the shit he has to worry about. And in that moment, he gets this chill of mana waves, like something hits him. And the chairman like, bro, you good? Did something happen? He says, not really, but it seems like there are people fighting nearby, some hunters. And he's impressed that he could sense it from that far because there are a bunch of hunters nearby. The S-rank hunters from Korea and Japan all gathering together for the mission. They're all in the gym working out right now, and he asks, you want to go? As it cuts over to Baek Yoon-hoo going beast mode, wrestling with some black belt in a traditional uniform. And the dude grabs his shoulder, then sweeps his leg and flips the absolute shit out of him. He starts talking trash like, come on, coach, you supposed to be stronger than this. Bro like continues the momentum of the flip and lands and says, I ain't no coach. And he calls him coach as they laugh at each other. And they just shaking the whole damn establishment as Jinwoo pulls up and the chairman says, this was probably what you were feeling. Now he says it looks like Baek Yoon-hoo is losing a bit, and a voice interrupts and says, yeah, but if he were to transform, the other guy wouldn't be able to keep up. And it's Choi Jong-in saying it's been a while. And Jinwoo says what's up, but asks why would he be hiding his strength. And Choi Jong-in says he doesn't want to do that in front of people because he really turns into a monster. So the rumors about him being a transformative type were true. He tells Jinwoo to look over there, and it's all the hunters that are gathered from Japan. This dude got scars all over. Bootleg Baek Yoon-hoo, not Ken Connor, and whoever this cute little thing is. I'm not gonna lie, I like this guy's demeanor. He looks cool. And there's this dude, reminds me of a dark type Pokemon. Sorry, I'm not remembering all these names. And the greatest hunter from Japan, Ryuji. They're all starting to notice Jinwoo's presence. Just off of that, he's like, damn, he must be an exceptional assassin. His translator corrects him and says, nah, he's a mage. He be summoning monsters and shit. He says impossible, but she's like, nah, it's been confirmed. And Spike Spiegel and Sha Hae-in notice him too. She's thinking she knew he was the reason the air felt different. She tries to point out Jinwoo to him, but he says, don't talk to me, bro. Just shut the fuck up. I feel like throwing up because of all you niggas around me. Apparently, he has the same type of thing as Shahae-in, where he gets a very strong scent from hunters. It's just that his is so bad he wears a mask for it. As Baek Yoon-hoo is sparring another one of Korea's hunters, and the greatest hunter from Japan is watching as well, but his assistant is over here talking shit. Saying this is the best Korea has to offer, they're mediocre at best. And he's like, really, you think so? But she says because she's constantly been going on missions with him, it's like S-rank hunters are nothing, saying that he's just that much stronger than them. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's a pretty strong one over there talking about Shahae-in. And he's thinking her and the chairman would give the Japanese hunter the best run for their money. Now they're speaking to each other in Japanese, but this dude walks up like, you know I heard that, right? No, you're not over here talking shit on Korean hunter. And she says, and you are, as his bro introduces him as the master of his own guild. He's an A-rank hunter in his own respect, like he's not no bum. She like, oh really? I've never heard of you. Are you going on the raid too? I thought only S-rank hunters were invited. It turns out his job is just blocking off the island, not actually going on it. She says, oh, that's good to hear. Can't assign an important task to an A-rank. Ryuji's like, bro, chill out. You being mad petty right now. He's like, it's all good. She's just an interpreter tagging along. What would she know? This is W shit talking right here. She's like, oh, for real? Would you like to try me? And introduces herself as Hanakawa. Don't tell me you can't take on an interpreter that's just tagging along. He says, come on now, stop with the dissing. Apparently she's an A-rank hunter as well. Come on, what? Are you a non-combatant hunter or something? And these two just up here watching like they got some popcorn. He's like, all right, let's just set some rules. We're not gonna do a head-on fight. Whoever snatches the other person's wrist wins, and that's it. So she's like, well now I can't just be careless with how I approach, because if I throw a punch, he could just grab me. So she's thinking they gotta play mind games with each other. She's like, what the fuck? You call that a ready stance? But he says, don't worry, I'm only gonna pull my hand out to grab your wrist. So she's like, oh, you think you fast then? Let's do it. And just charges right at him. She turns into a blur. But I'm not gonna lie, it looked like my man's got ultra instinct. Now she's just thinking about wiping that look off his face, but then he just knocks her arm away and poses saying, oh, by the way, I didn't hit you. That was just a little shove. You know what I'm saying? But she's like, hey, it's a little hard to understand your accent. And you look like a dumbass trying to hold that pose when you ripped your pants. So she takes this chance to run up on it. But too slow interpreter girl just snatches the shit out her wrist, but she's trying to figure out what just happened as he starts talking to her, saying you're the type that's always hiding behind the tanks, but in Korea we run into wicked hunters all the time, so it becomes our job to take them out. We be fighting our own kind, and when worse comes to worse, we have to kill them. They're completely different from the monsters you be killing, and if you can't predict your opponent's move, you're going to die. If I was wielding a sword, I would have slit your throat, not your wrist, as she snatches her hand away. But she ain't get disrespectful, she held her L. I like that. But Ryuji's like, hey, thanks. That shit looked pretty fun. Now tell everybody I got an announcement to make. He wants to start a friendly battle between the S-rank hunters of Korea versus the S-rank hunters of Japan. Just some friendly sparring, you know, team building exercises. And of course, the first motherfucker to say good idea is Gogun Hee, but says they gotta exclude the mages and non-combatants because, you know, the shit would be unfair. But then they add a few more rules. If somebody touches your back, you lose, and if you get knocked down, you lose. And they also turn it into a team battle so you can't just pick and choose your opponent, which can make things kind of lopsided, but the assassin types already have an advantage. So they say, bet, let's get it. So it's Baek Yoon-hoo, the black belt guy, Spike Spiegel, and Shahae-in versus, you know, these four niggas. I'm not remembering their names, bro. But either way, I still think they're all cool as shit.